So, it's been quite an unpleasant couple of days, or perhaps bad couple of days for the markets, but the question remains, when is this whole dump thing going to end? I mean, for the past couple of weeks, we've been expecting a scenario where we just go full bull, like vertical, but that doesn't happen now, does it? So, where do we need to go before we see that meteoric rally? We talk about that in this video, so let's just get right into it. I've not been making any videos because I've been trying to debunk what Mr. BTC is communicating to us here, and to be honest, it's not been easy. The reason why it's not been easy is because of this high here. If this did not go as high as this, then it would have been quite easy. But I found it. So this right here is the daily time frame, and as you would know, we usually follow patterns of 3. So we expect price to move to the upside by 1, 2, 3, and to the downside by 1, 2, and 3. Now, there are rules to this, and when it does not follow our rules, then it makes it a lot more difficult to read the chart. For instance, inside of all of these moves, we have smaller moves embedded in them, and when they do not follow our rules, it just makes the whole thing difficult. Another thing is, after any of these moves, we have retracements, and when those retracements go lower or higher than we expect, they break the rules, therefore making the whole thing difficult to read. So the first move here could actually look like this, the second move look like this, and the third move perhaps look like this, and so on and so forth for the others. After the moves, we can have retracements that look like this, which continues into the second move right here. And after this one right here, we could have something that looks like this that continues into the third move right here. Now, one of the rules is this low right here should not be going lower than this previous low right here. So instead of this, we should not be seeing something that looks like this. If that happens, then it's already destroyed our entire thesis, meaning that we'll have to restart the work entirely. So you see how difficult it can get, yes? A good example of this is this move right here, where you see price go 1, and then the retracement comes 2, another retracement, and 3. So you see that the 2 here did not go lower than this previous low right here, yes? So it followed the move to the T. It was easy to predict. The question you might have if you're actually following this is, how do we know the exact figure, yeah? How do we know if 3 is not just going to continue straight up, yeah? How do we know that? Well, we use Fibonacci. And with Fibonacci, we knew that this high right here will be a point of resistance. So let's just quickly do that with the trend-based Fib. So we take from this bottom right here, go to this high, and come back to this low right here. That gives us the current high that we see right there. So let's quickly enlarge these things. So with this, you see that that right there was the high, and it was actually the high to the T. So you see price facing resistance right here, and then it comes back to the downside. Even here was the same thing. We go back to the candlestick, and you see how this was a point of resistance. The key here is to have a weekly candle close above a key Fibonacci level, which is also what we had right here. And so we're expecting price to go up here. Anyway, so for the past couple of days, what's been bugging my mind is, how do we finally get to Valhalla? Because for us to get to Valhalla, we first need to go to Uppsala. And the problem I've been facing is we did not really have a clear move here. Like, how do we even decipher this? Well, it appears that what we've not been looking at is the line chart. So if we change this to the line chart, then it becomes a lot more clearer. Note that with Fibonacci, we mostly use the line chart. The only point where we don't use them is on the very low time frames, and we're talking about the 30-minute time frame. But to know how far we are going to go up or down, we have to be looking at the broader time frames, like the weekly time frame or the 3-day time frame. So here, it looks a lot more clearer, and so therefore we can apply our technique. Well, if you do that, it suggests that the true bottom, and this is not to say that we must go there, yeah? Because we might as well just go up from here. But what we should expect, or what we should keep in mind, is there is a very good possibility that BTC could go as low as 105.7 to 103.7. this zone right here should be its ideal bottom before we can therefore move back to the upside. And by upside, the minimum there will be about 114. And after that, we'll probably have a retracement before moving way higher. Another thing that we must pay attention to are the oscillators. So we have here the stochastic indicator. It's already oversold, but it could stay there for some time, so be careful with that. The RSI here, well, it's overvalued, so there's a chance that we could see this thing dump lower. Dumping lower will correspond with price moving lower here, and it will be good for the market. Of course, all of this is represented on USDT dominance. USDT dominance is the opposite of BTC, and so when it goes up, BTC will go down. As we can see here, USDT dominance had a first move down, a second move down, and then a third move down, where it then formed the inverted head and shoulders pattern. As we usually say, price will most likely retrace the second shoulder. And this here is the second shoulder, and so you see a retracement of that shoulder before another move back to the upside. So you could have a slight move back down here, which will move BTC to the upside, and then a zoom to the upside. Going up, of course, will mean BTC goes down. If we use the trend line, you will see that this right here has been a clear zone of resistance for USDT dominance. So when it goes higher than this, it's going to cause a massive dump for crypto. So for now, we will most likely see a retracement here for USDT dominance, but there is a very strong chance that it will go up. Now, what about the macro here for USDT dominance? Because if we're expecting BTC to go to somewhere around 170K, how will that be represented here? We must be able to prove here from USDT dominance, because it's the money, that it's going to go down at some point if we are expecting BTC to go to somewhere around 170K or 150K. Note that this here is just a retracement up, yeah, even though it's about 10% retracement up, which will mean somewhere around 10% dump for Mr. BTC, it's still just a retracement. Yeah, but on the macro, as we zoom out, where is the mega dump? How will that be represented here? Let's quickly look at it. So as we come here to the weekly time frame, let's go to the weekly time frame. You notice something interesting here. So all of what we were talking about is just here. Yeah, it's just here. But let's now look at the bigger picture. What's actually happening here? Well, if you change this to the line chart, you will see a mega inverted cup and handle pattern here. So you have this big cup, and this is actually its handle. So we change that to blue to make a distinction, and then we'll see that there is a massive support around here that needs to be broken. So the whole idea of BTC and altcoins doing some meteoric rally to Valhalla will strongly depend on USDT dominance, perhaps going up here but still coming down to break this support right here. I am somewhat certain that it will happen. Now, do we have any levels to the downside from here? Yes, we do. The first level will be here, which will be somewhere around 3.49 for USDT dominance. We should put that in green, meaning that it's going to go to the upside, but it's in the dotted lines, meaning that it could go somewhat lower than that. With Fibonacci, what we can see will be the 2.618 right here, meaning that no matter what, this will most likely be the top for the crypto markets. So if USDT dominance ever comes down here, yeah, we should be selling everything. By everything, I mean everything. Anyway, we went to macro on this stuff, but let's quickly go to BTC and see if we can make like a summary there before we close our session. So to summarize, it's not to say that we must come down to our zone right here. We might as well just go straight up. But if we do come down here, don't think that the bull market has ended. It might not have ended. That could actually be where we spring back to the upside. If we do come down here, then we would have concluded our 3-point drop move where we go back to 114, and from there we will reanalyze. Actually, we will make another update, but we will be expecting a retracement and then a move to the upside.